subtitle, and why it doesn't matter. G'day folks, welcome back to the channel for a video that I've been meaning to make for a very long time now. What is the best build for your first hardcore playthrough? I see this question pop up occasionally on the official forums and more often on Reddit, and the usual answers are always the same. You're gonna hear, you want a Dark One's Vitality Caster, or you want a Krieg's Death Knight, or you want a Pet Conjurer, they're tanky, and there's usually someone with a Blitz Warlord or something Warden related, but generally speaking it's going to be a lot of people suggesting Dark One's Vitality Casters, Krieg's Death Knights, and pet builds in general. So, what's my answer? Well, this is the character that I did it with. This is my first level 100 hardcore character. I used it to get all the hardcore achievements and farm a bunch of gear, and while it isn't a physical force wave spamming two-handed monster, it was that for 93 levels. In my opinion, the Krieg's Death Knight is still the best starting character in general, and the best first hardcore character specifically. So, why do I say that? Well, there are 5 reasons. The first reason is that it's a very tanky build without any gear being put into it. Adding Soldier to a build is a really good way to tank up a character. You get the mastery with the highest per level health and physique in the game. You get a lot of physique bonuses, including the only mastery based physique percent increaser in the game. You get a lot of armor bonuses, including the only mastery based method of increasing your armor absorption. You get one of the few mastery based circuit breakers, and only Blast Shield in my opinion is better. You get Warcry, which basically cripples monster damage and also shreds their resistances at the same time. These two mutators both reduce targets' physical resistance and all resistances. Then you get a whole bunch of skills that work amazingly well with just 1 point in them. All of these along the bottom, really good for 1 point. If you're using a shield, add shield training in. If you're not, then leave that one out, but 1 point in all of these is really good. And getting plus soldier skills is easy enough that your 1 point wonders will often be 4 or 5 point wonders with just 1 point invested in them. Then you add Necromancer for even more HP, Necromancer I believe being the 4th highest increase in physique and flat health among all of the masteries. Spectral Binding providing a ton of flat health. Spectral Wrath providing damage debuffs on the enemy in the form of minus attack speed, and then also adding to Resistance Shred with Physical Vitality and Aether Shred. And then Mark of Torment, over here, allows you to tank things that even the impressive tank stats of a soldier wouldn't normally let you survive. Death Knight is incredibly tanky, and the same skills that provide its impressive damage stats also increase the damage it does. The second reason is Force Wave. Now, Force Wave is a meme for a very good reason. It's easily one of the best leveling skills, and, alright, it's boring after your second soldier build, but no one will deny that it is incredibly effective. So the skill itself is available from level 2, and once you get to level 4, you'll be able to unlock the transmuter here, Tremor, and then it becomes spammable. So pretty much as soon as you kill your 4th zombie, when you walk across this bridge, you'll be able to smack the air so hard it creates a shockwave strong enough to ragdoll your enemies across the screen. You could focus on the physical damage, you can choose to focus more on the damage over time portion of it. It's easily convertible into other damage types, and it's one of the few spells that comes with weapon damage baked in, which means you can lifesteal with it. The third reason is gearing and the MI support. Force Wave has great MI support in Act 1. The Shambler's Heart here is available about halfway through Act 1, gives you +3 to Force Wave. If you're using cooldown Force Wave, don't, but if you do, it will reduce the skill recharge time and adds a bunch of flat physical damage onto Force Wave. It also comes with really great stats for an Act 1 character. You get more armor, you get elemental resistance, and you get percent phys damage on the one item. Just after Homestead, you'll be able to get the weapon that will carry you all the way to level 100, and even this basic magic-only Obsidian Warcleaver is a great weapon for Force Wave. Comes with additional flat physical damage, percent internal trauma damage, Casting speed and Force Wave is a spell, so this is really good. There's a little bit of resistance is neither here nor there, but +4 to Force Wave, +4 to Internal Trauma, reduce the cooldown on Force Wave, and adds more % weapon damage to Force Wave. This is an amazing weapon for Force Wave. The best leveling relic for a soldier is this one. It's Juggernaut. It comes with +1 to all skills in soldier, flat physical damage, % physical damage, chance to stun the target, physique, offensive ability. All this is great, but the main reason is +1 to skills and the unstoppable proc. 15% chance when hit, so every 3 seconds you can heal yourself for 6% plus 600 and have a pretty much permanently up health regen. Juggernaut is by far the best leveling relic for hardcore, and it's a soldier relic. It's really, really good. Typically you'll get this when you get to Hiram in the Steel Cap district, but this is level 35. You could get this recipe from a totem just outside of Homestead. Next up, the +1 Soldier Amulet is available much earlier than other classes, doesn't have a quest requirement like, for example, the Nightblade one, and you can farm this before you even get to Homestead. If you get the Of the Grove suffix, you're going to get this heal proc here. It's another one, when you get hit, a chance to heal a % and a flat amount, and it's on a 5-second recharge. This is a really good amulet, and I would strongly recommend farming it when you get access to it. The biggest reason though is the Krieg set. For any other build as your first character, you're going to be limited to whatever drops, whatever you can farm, or whatever you can purchase from reputation vendors. For other characters, level 94 is just another level. For Krieg's Death Knights though, level 94 comes with a full 5-piece purple set and a large power spike. The Krieg set is target farmable in Elite as soon as the monsters that drop it are level 75, so when you get to level 90, you will have had the set sitting in your stash for more than 10 levels. Even if the only change you make is to put Krieg set on, you're going to get a pair of damage procs, both here on the helmet and also on the gloves, as well as the Krieg's Wrath skill from the 5-set bonus that you can use every couple of seconds in every fight. Every piece of the set has skill bonuses to things you'll be using, and although Krieg's set is basically an Aether set, with each piece having large Aether damage bonuses as well as conversion to Blitz to Aether damage, it also has up to 114% bonus to physical and internal trauma damage which Force Wave uses. It comes with +1 to all of your skills as the 4-set bonus, and so all those 1.1 to skills in Soldier I was talking about earlier get better. This set is incredibly good for a level 94 set that you can target farm. And the final reason is the level 100 build diversity of the Death Knight. All of these builds are current patch viable level 100 Death Knight builds. There's a lot of them. Do you want to stay with the Krieg set? Keep doing Aether damage? You can. There are builds that use a 2-hander, there are sword and board builds, and there is this build, which is the one I chose to use, which is dual wielding. Did you perhaps get the Blood Knight set to drop? Well, how about a Vitality build that uses Bone Harvest and Blade Arc? Hybrid caster, anyone? Did you get the Warborn set to drop? Well, what about a Leviathan 2-handed physical cadence build? Do you want to play a pet hybrid? Fancy yourself the Lich King? You can do that too, with the right gear. Did you perhaps get the Ouroboros set? Feel like being a vampire? Well, you could be a Drain Essence channeling caster. There are so many viable level 100 builds for a Death Knight that you are not pigeonholed in any way into any build. And now let me go back to the very first thing I said in this video. It doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? It doesn't matter because there are many builds, some of which have playlists on this channel, that can go from level 1 all the way to level 100 with nothing but monster infrequent items that are easily target farmable and the occasional faction reputation item. You can then use those builds with entirely self-farmed gear to farm up any other items and sets you might want for any other build, and you can do it without using the Krieg set. A lot of the advantages of a Krieg's Death Knight are shared by other builds. There are several target farmable purple sets. You have the Dark Ones set, the Vanquishers set, Morganeth set, the Shattered Realms set. All of these are target farmable. We know exactly where they drop, and we can go there and kill the monster or clear the dungeon until we get those sets. There are also builds that are inherently tanky, while still being able to kill things very quickly. Pretty much anything Warlord related, including the off-recommended Blitz build. This Archon build that I did for my first video series on this channel. Any kind of soldier just about, but even squishy mages can be quite tanky. Spellbinder has both Mirror of Erioctes and Mark of Torment, combined with an Aether Cluster, can make it basically immune to damage for long periods of time, certainly long enough to kill any kind of challenging boss. With enough life leech and the right devotions, even the glassiest of glass cannons in the world can be virtually immune to anything that doesn't one-shot them. Having a skill available and being strong from level 1 is very nice, but there are builds that don't even get their main skill until level 30 plus that are more than viable with just self-found items. An Albrecht's Aether Ray build is just one example. Panetti's Replicating Missiles, another skill that struggles to level because it requires large amounts of skill points to come online properly. Once you have those skill points, it's perfectly viable and has several endgame builds that work just fine. Retaliation is another, with the Perdition set being level 40, and most people agreeing that you probably shouldn't level with it and you should level to level 100 with a Force Wave build, and then swap to Retaliation. You don't have to do that. So, while yes, I do still consider the Krieg's Death Knight to be the best build for new players in general, and new hardcore players specifically, it's not the only option, and you certainly aren't going to be strapped for choice. Death Knight is strong, but so are other builds. Krieg's set is very nice, but it's not required, and soldier-based classes are ideal, but again, not required. Thanks very much for listening. I'll see you in the next one, and good luck in hardcore. Leave me a comment to let me know what your favorite class is, and goodbye for now.